This time around on Author's Corner with me, Kate Delaney, here on America Tonight. Boy, I'm going to introduce you to such an interesting man, Eddie Goldfarb. He's written a book called Sopo Hatches. And wait till you hear really the background of this book and how it came about and all of that. And plus, just his background is so interesting. The many, many things that he's done, including we thank him for his service. We had a great conversation about what he did as far as flying is concerned, and boy, the Navy, just being a commissioned naval officer and what he was assigned to and what happened there. His life has been certainly one wild ride, I would say. Hey, Eddie, thanks for coming on.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here. Looking forward to the interview.
So let's talk about the book, and then I want to talk more about your background. But what inspired this book? It was really a product.
Well, let's start off first with, I wish I never got the idea, because it's taken over my life for the last 7 years. Whenever I move into a new home, I always hang one of those permanent personal care dispensers for your shampoo, conditioner, and body wash on the wall. And one day I was filling the dispenser with shampoo. I picked up the bottle and said, why can't the bottle, the package, actually be the dispenser? You could put some kind of adhesive on the back. You could attach it to the wall. It would come that way from the store or from Amazon or wherever you buy it. So I started experimenting, and I started with like milk cartons, believe it or not. Anyway, I made about 100 models until I finally got one that worked, and then we launched it, and we had very, very good success, but it was a pouch design. And then I liquidated 27,000 units, and I redesigned it to a flawlessly working model that we have today, and it's called Sopo, by the way, and Sopo is an acronym for stick on, pull off. So it's Sopo Dispenser Packaging. And it's interesting how the name came about real quickly. One of my investors thought I meant sopa, which I believe is frog in Spanish, and that's where I got the idea that our ambassador should be Little Sopo the frog, which is a red-eyed tree frog, and she was hatched in the eastern Peru Amazon rainforest. So that's how it all came about.
Yeah, I love that the name Sopo is very cool, by the way. So tell us more about the book since we started to go down that road. Tell us more about the frog.
So I wrote the book basically to be a giveaway with the product. And the product is called Sopo the Frog, which is a 3-in-1 organic and natural shampoo, conditioner, and body wash for children. So I wrote the book to be a promotional item with the purchase of the product. But everybody who saw the manuscript said, Ed, this is not a giveaway. This is a really good book. Because I being in advertising for many years, I actually used to write a lot of verse to our advertising, which included writing jingles and then going to Nashville and having them produced, because I'm not a composer. I'm basically a writer. So the whole book is in verse, in rhyme, and it's I understand from a couple of people who've already read it that the children have memorized the book because it's very easy to memorize rhymes. So that's how that came about. So we decided to just publish the book, which I did about in February, actually.
Yeah, we won't tell everyone everything about the book, but the rhymes, like you're saying, you got a mama frog laying eggs in a pond in the Amazon rainforest. This had to be fun for you to write.
It was a lot of fun to write. It came out very quick. It opens up. I'm just going to give you the first page. Early on a misty morn, just before the break of dawn, a little green tree frog lays her eggs while sitting back on powerful legs. So that's how it opens up.
I love it. Yeah, you need to get this book. I mean, this book would be great for kids, really, of all ages, I think, because there's even some cool, like, metaphors in this. And it's like you said, all that research and development, the packaging that you went through. Is there some kind of, I don't know, euphoria, relief, whatever it is that, wow, you're really kind of at now the pinnacle point of all of this and just really pushing it out there?
Well, you're absolutely right. As a matter of fact, I was telling my wife the other day, I don't know what to do. It's been about 10,000 hours of research and development to get to this point, and we're going to launch this weekend. And I ran a test market and made some orders, and I noticed that it wasn't going to the bank and it wasn't going to my 3PL. It's a 3PL is a shipping and handling company that's going to ship it out for me. So right now, as a matter of fact, before I got on with you, I was talking to the shipping and handling company. Say, hey, go to Shopify and fix the problem because I don't have time to do it. I've already tried and I can't get it done. So hopefully today we're going to push the button and go live. And I also want to point out, let's go back if we can to the book. The book is non-fictional, but it's almost like a fictional book in that Sopo the frog obviously is a made-up character, but she is the ambassador for not only my product, which is secondary to the book, but it talks about being respectful to your parents and friends, going to school and learning, good hygiene, and also taking care of our planet. So there's a lot covered in a very few pages.
Yeah, and you can get this book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever great books are sold. If somebody wants to get the product, where do they go for that?
Well, just go to Shopify. It's under the brand name, the store name, SopoTheFrog.com. We'll take them to the Amazon page. There's two ways to go. They go directly to Amazon at SopoTheFrog.com, or they can go to mysopo.com, and that's the website, and from there you can click on shop. So there's two ways to get there.
Yeah, love it. So when you started out, and I mentioned this at the beginning, you've done so many interesting things in your life. I mean, Navy, piloting, ending up in advertising with some huge campaigns on the cutting edge of so many, many things. Did you ever think you'd end up here? Did you have that entrepreneurial spirit?
Oh, I always have. When I got out of the Navy, I was 25 years old. I applied to 65 airlines around the world. Couldn't get a job because the whole country was kind of in a recession. I guess the world might have been. And the airlines just weren't hiring, and my timing was off. So I got this idea for a company called The Warehouse. So I went back to school at Florida State University, and then I took a semester off to open up this warehouse, which was a bar. And we had like 1,500 people there opening night, but bottom line is it failed finally because I didn't know what I was doing. So I blew all my inheritance on that. And then I got in from then, after I graduated, I got into advertising.
Yeah. And what was advertising like?
Oh, well, I started out with a company called Food Fair Pantry Pride, which is bankrupt. Right after I left, they went bankrupt. I'm not saying I had anything to do with the bankruptcy, but they were, I understand, the seventh largest grocer in the United States at the time. Anyway, I got a job as assistant advertising director for Food Fair Pantry Pride, and my boss was very young, so I wasn't going to be promoted. So once I learned my trade, and by the way, I only took 2 advertising courses in college, one in advertising, one marketing. My background was really chemistry. But when I got advertising, I realized this is easy, this is fun, and I took to it like a duck takes to water. My boss was very good, a great mentor, but I realized that I had a lot of creativeness in me. So he started giving me more and more responsibility. Finally, he didn't do anything, and I was doing everything. And I was learning layouts, copywriting, television production, radio production, point of sale. And then I started looking at advertising agents, sending out resumes, and SuperValue hired me as their advertising director. I was in one of their main divisions, and that went very, very well. I had a lot of accomplishments, and I was actually recruited by Jewel out of Chicago, and they doubled my salary and promised me a car which they never delivered on. But SuperValue, to keep me, met the salary and they met everything else, but they didn't give me the proverbial car. So I went to Jewel. They were sold out 2 years later to American Stores, which is Albertsons. I went on the job market and went on 5 interviews, 4 job offers. I ended up as the first director of advertising for AutoZone. So that was my last real advertising job. Well, I'm going to digress. Then after AutoZone, I went through a divorce. A lot happened in my life. And I got a job with the American Contract Bridge League as their public relations director. And that was very interesting because unbeknownst to me, because I don't play bridge, that Omar Sharif, Malcolm Forbes, these kind of guys were members, and they actually play tournament bridge. And I got the idea for the French-American bridge tournament, and guess who was the captain of the, you're not going to guess, I'm going to tell you, but the French team, Omar Sharif.
Wow.
So I ended up spending 3 days with Omar Sharif, one hell of a nice guy, let me tell you. But, I was kind of his gopher, but it was really enjoyable. But also with AutoZone, I had lunch with, dinner with Richard Petty, the champion, probably the most won most championships in NASCAR. When I was at Food Fair, I had dinner with Franz Harkington, the quarterback. I forgot what team he was. Wasn't it Minnesota? Anyway,
Minnesota,
It was very interesting. Yeah, I just had an incredible life. Hung out with the Kingston Trio. So it's been a lot of fun. And then I got fed up with the corporate world. And 33 years ago, whatever, I got into real estate. And that's been incredibly successful for me. And then 7 years ago, I got the idea for Sopo, so that's kind of taken over my life and I didn't let my real estate go, obviously, but I stopped promoting it the way I used to, so my business dropped while I was promoting Sopo. So I put my heart, soul, and my money into Sopo. And I hope the book is successful because I have an idea to write a whole series of books about what's Sopo's adventures through life, basically. Sopo goes to school, Sopo goes to college, Sopo becomes a Navy pilot, Sopo leaves the Navy, becomes a doctor, whatever it's going to be. It's, whatever I can think of. It's,
sure.
I want to just, a book that children that will help them through life. I mean, I have lost everything 3 times in my life. I've started over 3 times with nothing. And, you just can't let the bad guys get you down. Circle the wagons.
I love that. Circle the wagons. Perfect place to end this. Sopo Hatches, here's where it all begins. Pick up this book. Get this product. Go to Amazon. Eddie Goldfarb, thank you so much.
Well, thank you, and have a good week.
You too.
I look forward to people buying the book and loving it.